Hello, and welcome to 10 Very Big Books, a Malazan read-through podcast. My name is Peter Bond. I've read every book in the main series, and with me today is my friend and closest confidant, India Jones.
Oh my God. Come on. I can't believe you're making me put a burp in the podcast.
That's so gross, India. That's so
That was righteous.
Thanks, guys. Bye,
All
everyone.
right. And next, our producer, AJ Fileri. How is your sloppy stember going, AJ?
My sloppy stember is absolutely slipping, sliding, just the grossest time.
I love to hear that. Very excited. And last but not least, Joshua Hood, the Lord of Being Dead, Dean Baker.
Okay, I'll take it. That is, yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, thank you, Ryan, for that coming in clutch in the literal last seconds of us starting to record the podcast.
We are back from break. We have been chilling out, relaxing. We have not been busy at all. Just kind of taking a slow, kind of relaxed time.
Yeah,
you said break, and I was like, the fuck is Pete on about? And I forgot that to everyone, the audience, it's been a chill time.
Yeah.
But we're back, and it's a momentous occasion. We are starting a very special season of the show here. So we briefly want to go over some quick business at the top. First things first, we are going to tackle Dust of Dreams and the Crippled God in one mega season. So we will not have an off season, we won't do a mailbag, and we will not interview Steve until we are finished the series.
Wow.
When you put it like that, it seems like a bad idea.
We're not stopping, Josh. We're just reading the book from now until the end.
I also think it sounds like it's way closer. I'm definitely like, oh my God, it's like, it's going to be the beginning of the end, but we still have two very big books.
Yeah, in reality, it's like 8 months away or something.
Yes, it's not that close, but it's a little close.
Closer than it has ever been.
Closer than it's ever been. But speaking of that, we are looking into ways to end the show, potential live events, some way we can all meet up and connect. So we have included a link in the show notes, and we would love as many people as can fill that out so we can gauge interest and understand what might work for us and you. And that is all the business I can think of. Producer AJ, is there anything else to get to?
Yeah, so this season we're also doing a special Survivor style vote a host off.
Let's
every episode.
Coming out.
Actually, I'd love to see who goes first.
No, I think that's it. I think we can do a proper intro to the super season.
The super season. So how are we all feeling going into what is the last season of this run?
I was going to say, I'm excited. There's only 2 more opportunities for Steve to start a book fucking in the middle of nowhere that I've never seen before. So that's pretty great.
And then we'll be done with that. But he can still do it mid-chapter. Don't worry about that.
Oh, yeah.
Ange, how are you feeling?
I'm excited. I'm excited to see how it ends, actually, kind of. Just like, because, like, how do you wrap this up? And it better not be in a loose, messy...
It was all a dream.
Oh, it's a boy staring into a snow globe.
Yeah, literally. Like, figure it out. Who knows what's going to happen next? Let you decide, because that would piss me off.
Oh, I don't know, India. I feel like there's a strong possibility that this doesn't end up tied up in a nice little bow.
Yeah, well...
I feel like there's going to be at least a few storylines that are kind of left open.
Yeah, well then it's just it's wishful thinking.
AJ, any final words before we kick off this episode?
No, I'm excited to read the book. I think we're off to a pretty strong start by the time we get to the end of this episode. I'll say chapters 1 and 2 are classic intros to Malazan book, where we are just introducing all the characters and the things going on. But then once we hit chapter 3, I think that chapter's a banger. So
the thing is,
off to a good
AJ,
start.
Before we get to those chapters, we have to start in the middle of nowhere with a prologue with some characters you've never met before.
Yes, of course.
So let's get into it and let's start talking. A trail of refugees called the Snake travels across the Elan Plain. At the head is a young boy named Rut, who swaddles a baby. He speaks to a girl called Badal about their travels and poetry. Far away, in strange corridors, a woman named Caliph thinks on her past. She recalls her life as a wife and mother, then the destruction of her people. We see sections of this great complex called the Feed, the Womb, and she comes to the heart, where a K'chain Shamal matron awaits. Caliph is the destriant of the K'chain Shamal. This matron is the last matron. Caliph is charged to set forth into the world to find new champions. The Shigal assassin sent with Caliph is named Gural. He is excited to leave the nest for the first time in 600 years, but worries that the matron is imperiling herself. An unnamed figure travels with a miserable group towards a large structure on the horizon. Cape moths look down on him. We see him as a gaunt figure with green skin and tusks. Dolmens, wolves, dragons crucified. Strange visions plague Haboric ghost hands, who thinks on what is to come. See, I wanted to do a fun snake.
Christ.
I wanted to do a
Yeah.
fun snake sound, but what's tough is, I don't know if you picked it up, Josh. The snake is actually just a name
Euphemism?
for a kind of trail of refugee children that are having a
Yeah.
not a very fun time. So
Yeah,
I
I gotta
want
tell
to do
you.
something fun with the name Snake, but not a very fun vibe.
No, I gotta tell you, on my little bingo chart of ways Steve start book, I really didn't have starving, half-dead children refugee train really on there present very much. So,
Why do you say they're starving, Josh?
well, explicitly as stated, they've like not had any water or food in like forever, and they swaddle this baby every day, but who fucking knows if it's dead or not? When's the last time it ate? It's pretty bad, India.
I
So,
guess.
The one guy talks about his stomach being distended, which is
Yes.
a classic.
Oh, with the worms inside.
Oh, yeah,
Fucking
that's so-
gnarly.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Forgot about that. Can I say though, man, what a badass thought that little kid had. He was just like, I can't wait though, because when I beef it, hopefully some things eat me first, and then the worms will fucking get them. Like, that dude's playing some fucking 4D chess. He's ready.
God.
I did want to just point out there's this passage here. He's kind of describing some of the bad events that has brought him to the snake. When the starvers and the bone-skinned inquisitors marched on the city, his mother had sent him running, hand in hand with his sister, who was 2 years older than he was, and they'd run down streets between burning buildings and screams filled the night, and the starvers kicked in doors and dragged people out and did terrible things to them, while the boneskins watched on and said it was necessary. Everything here was necessary, you know?
You know? No, I
Yeah.
don't.
I'm bringing this up for later, so I'll leave
good
it
to
there.
know.
You know?
That's
Good
good
to
to
know. We'll see some starvers later.
Yeah, I'm glad I can't relate. I'm feeling good about that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
India, how did you feel about the kind of poetry thread that was kind of woven through this initial section?
So let's just be honest. Prologue, boring.
Okay, sure.
It's boring because obviously it goes without saying. I did not want to start with people I didn't know. I did not want it. I
Preach.
was not happy about it. I understand that it's sad that they're refugee children that are starving, but like, I didn't think about the poetic anything about it. I just begged for it to be over and for chapter 1 to start. Anybody else?
Preach. No, yeah, 100%. Hundo P.
What'd you think about the actual poem? The actual poetry in there?
Was that like
The one girl.
Yeah, the girls kind of doing this poetry. AJ, did you feel like India? Did the poetry resonate with you? What did you feel about starting at the snake?
Yeah, no, it's certainly, I wouldn't say it resonated with me even. I would just say that it is there and I acknowledge it. But, you know, I mean, it's just a hungry girl kind of, I think, you know, just trying to make light of a really shitty situation just by recounting the things she sees. I think it was really horrific talking about the trees that she saw that are like gray leaves that at the end of the night like come and eat the dead kids or something.
Yeah.
That
I did
seems
not
really
like that.
I don't know if that's just like birds, like vultures
Bugs.
maybe,
I think it's bugs.
Yeah, I
think
hated
it's
it.
swarms of millions of bugs.
Like moths or something. Yeah, I
Yeah.
hated that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of really, I feel like it's a very moody beginning. It's a lot of imagery. It's a lot of tone.
Yeah.
It's just kind of sitting there.
Yeah, it was really, yeah.
I also, like, I just don't understand how a group of children can organize themselves so well.
Well, I think that's kind of the point. I think they just kind of started wandering, and then as they were wandering, there were other kids who were wandering that are like, oh, look, a line of children. Let me join this line, I guess. I don't know where I'm going. Maybe they do. I think that's kind of the vibe.
Also, as a high school teacher, I can confirm, you give a 14-year-old enough time, he will start a cult. So
That's true.
On purpose or not.
yeah.
Inch, I'm curious, did the whole prologue kind of leave you out in the cold? How did this Kachain Chamal section hit you?
The Kachain Chamal!
When we're inside Ampelus rooted and seeing this whole point of view of Caliph.
So that change,
Fucking metal.
I was so, no, was it though? Like, it was, that part wasn't bad. It was actually kind of disgusting. I hate when they talk about like the matron or whatever, like giving birth.
Oh my God.
That always, like the imagery of that, just like disgust. Like and they're like, it smells so bad. I'm like, ew.
Yeah.
So, but I was really confused actually.
It's definitely a little, it's a lot all at once, you know?
Yeah.
Can I ask?
Then I was like, were the kids there? Did the kids walk there? And then I was like, oh, no.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
No, we're just somewhere totally.
But that was a really quick like flip.
Yeah.
Does anyone else, whenever we have like insane Kachain Chamal stuff, wonder like, is this in the future? You know, is this a dystopian world? Like I always am. There's always a part of me that's like, shit does that, but I don't think Steve is doing. I don't know. There's so much stuff we don't know with all these like green comets and stuff. I'm always just like, is he trying to pull a fast one on me? I don't know.
Interesting. That's interesting, Josh. No, I've never considered it as like, is this like we're seeing into the future kind of thing? That is interesting. I don't think that's what's happening, but I
don't either. But yeah,
that is an interesting angle. I wouldn't put it past it. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if that was a reveal.
Yeah. Now, Pete,
I have a quote I just want to share. I'm sorry. I want to hear the questions, but you know what? Let's do them first.
My question was, is the matron literally just in there to just push out babies all the time?
Yeah.
And then they turn them into what?
Oh, India, that's a question, huh? Because I didn't know Kachain Chamal came in so many colors and varieties. There's so
Learning
many.
a little bit more about the types and the whole.
Yeah.
There's a variety of them.
I mean, like India, do you know anything about bee reproduction?
Yes.
I mean, it's very similar to bee reproduction. Depending on what it seems like depending on what the matron feeds or how the process is going, like certain internal things can work and different types of, offspring will come from it.
Oh, wow. Thinking about them like bees is actually really clearing it up for
me. It's really similar.
Like worker bees and then
exactly. There's the one, and every queen has there's always like a couple of backups that could be queen. And we have one of them, that's what my question's about.
Interesting.
Really?
Interesting.
Really know a lot about
like
bee reproduction, Josh.
I almost became an
etymologist.
Fuck me. I almost become an entomologist.
You're right. It's ent. I said et. That's different.
I took that class in college and I almost switched my major. And then I can't remember
who
who
took that class.
I loved it. And then someone was like, what the fuck would you do to make money? And I was like,
I would keep bees.
I'm friends with an entomologist. He's having a good time.
Yeah. My question though is, Pete, when you were reading,
sure,
how excited were you to learn that the Red Mask storyline wasn't a bunch of bullshit that meant nothing?
Yeah, really interesting. I would love to know how you guys responded to that and what you take away from that.
I was psyched. I mean, I was like, I don't know. I mean, still in retrospect, I was like, man, bummer storyline that it just kind of ended. But it's really interesting to see, like, to recontextualize that whole storyline as like Kachain Chamal centric and not Red Mask centric. You know what I mean? Like that whole series of events in my head now is no longer about Red Mask and is only about the Kachain Chamal.
AJ, you've stolen it from me 100%. That like now knowing that Red Mask was a test subject
Yeah.
more than anything is just absolutely mind-blowing. I love it so much.
Yeah, and then it kind of recontextualizes his final scene as well. Like, he wasn't using them, they were using him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he didn't have control over the Kachin Shamal.
Exactly.
It was the other way.
They are using these human labels on them as kind of a way to organize things, but they're not being led by human. It was so interesting. I was gushing while reading it.
Yeah.
I was wondering, when the matron is talking to that girl, baby, I think, Caliph.
Yeah.
She's an older woman. I wouldn't call her a baby, but
Oh, she seemed everyone.
I also thought she was young.
I thought she was kind of like our age.
well, I don't know. Well, listen, she was married and had kids and like lived a life, so it doesn't seem like she's young to me. But
Yeah, she could be fucking 19. Like, this is
Fair though.
Malazan.
People have children at like 13.
Exactly.
Anyway.
All that to say, you're wrong.
Sunglasses down.
So my question is, when the matron, first of all, the matron can talk to question mark. That's weird.
Yeah, dude,
They
they
all
talk
talk,
now.
which is
They talk
weird.
now.
No, the third. They talked in the third one too. She talked to Talk the Younger.
Yeah, but this
when
is
she
way
tortured him
different. This is
terribly.
way
Yeah,
different,
Josh.
Josh.
That did happen, but also I thought it was like an internal talk type
Yes.
thing. Why does she call her the destriant, and of what?
Of the
So that's what we were-
Kachin Shamal.
Yeah, it seems like India that they are in an attempt to kind of claw back power. They're trying to like use humanity's weapons against them, so they're calling them their destriant mortal sword. But like, it don't feel like it, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if this girl has magics.
Yeah, well, it even says, I just happened to be
Yes,
opening the
I know
page.
you're
She said she had been no witch. She had not possessed the breath of a shaman, and so would never be a rider of the spotted horse, which I guess is her previous religion or whatever. So yeah, I don't think she has any actual sage magic or whatever the destriant usually has. I think they just like, you're like, hey, you're the destriant now. And they promised her power, it seems like, and she was like, yeah, sure. But now it seems like that has... since the death of Red Mask, I guess, is just like, well, fuck me. Like, this isn't going to turn into anything. We're all just going to die.
Yeah.
Pete, what's this quote?
Well, I have two things. First, AJ, I need you to retroactively edit the Kachin Shamal sound effect in, or you can put it right here.
The Kachin Shamal.
Okay. And
I didn't even say it because I have that much faith in our editor.
wow. I wanted to end this little Kachin Shamal section with reading this quote. No further proof was needed, war was coming. That the Vegath gave the matron terrible pain, each one thrust out from her in a welter of blood and pungent fluid, had become irrelevant. Necessity, Caliph well knew, was the cruelest master of all. Just saying, little connection, two quotes about necessity back to back. Just think about it, you know? Did you see that? I saw one.
Oh, I see.
Saw one
I
word
see.
in the first section, and the same word was in the second section. You know?
Pretty sneaky, sis.
Pretty sneaky, sis. Pretty sneaky. All right, there's a bit of stuff with this Shigal assassin, but we can leave that there. I did want to briefly ask if any of you had any ideas about who this mysterious unnamed figure is that is kind of traveling with some people we know, Taxilian, Rotnus, Hivenar.
Can you? Oh, and they were all. I mean, it could be Acarium, but I think it's Acarium's dad.
Gothos. I was going to say Gothos.
Gothos. I think it's Gothos.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't have really any reason to believe it's either of them either way, but it's definitely a Jaghut.
It's definitely Jagged. It says Gaunt. It could be Raced. There were so many hints last book that Raced would get out somehow.
Yeah, but how would he end up all the way?
Yeah,
I guess
don't think
just
I don't know,
traveling
man.
through the Azaths.
Yeah, how the fuck would Gothos get there? You know, that dude's on another plane.
Well, Gothos lives in the central Azath house. or whatever.
Yeah,
Like, dude
you're
can
not
just
wrong.
do whatever. Yeah, I don't know.
And then India, the last person we check in on is one Mr. Ghost Hands himself.
Woo!
Having some visions about what might happen in our last two volumes.
Okay. It's so funny. Like at first, like whenever a Haboric post-death Haboric happens, I have no idea what's going on in the scene. Every single time I'm just like, what the hell is happening? And then I'll see like Jade something and I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what time it is. So that was exciting, but I thought he was dead.
Yep.
Yeah, he is. I mean,
But like not coming back dead, like ripped apart dead.
his whole shit is like the only thing that makes part of me want to like really go back and reread this series, because like I don't fucking understand any of it ever, more than anything else in this series.
And
I wish I could go all the way back to like Haboric and Felison too.
Exactly.
Like, I wish,
Re-examine that.
When everything started happening to like, but no, I actually would never.
I think there's a lot going on with Haboric, and in Deadhouse Gate, since you're so in Felison's point of view, and that's really her story in some way, I think some of the beginning Haboric stuff, I certainly, it doesn't read as like, this is a primary storyline you should grab onto, you know?
Yeah.
Because because Felison's storyline is so strong in Deadhouse Gates that when he's like, okay, well, in like chapter 6, he like encounters the Jade Hands on the Ototaro Isle, and then it's like like the whole book, that storyline progresses, and then it just
like, hey, that's weird.
Yeah, it just keeps progressing, and it never stops, and then you're like, oh my god, well, a lot has happened with this guy, hasn't it?
Yeah.
You know. All right. Well, listen, that's gonna
and the errant has Fenner, you know, just like in a fucking in the palm of his hand, basically, and Fenner should be dead too. It's all ridiculous.
That is going to bring us to the start of book 1. The sea does not dream of you.
I do just quick want to read a Haboric quote. We've talked in this series before about people creating the gods and the gods getting power because of people and stuff. And Haboric has this quote near the end. He says, "We stood tall in paradise and then called forth the gods of war to bring destruction upon ourselves, our world, the very earth, its air, its water, its myriad life. No, show me no surprise, no innocent bewilderment. I see now with the eyes of the abyss. I see now with my enemy's eyes, and so I shall speak with its voice. Behold, my friends, I am justice. And when at last we meet, you will not like it." Just I think a banger of a quote about people made wars and now the war is going to destroy them.
Justice.
Have you, my friends, the courage? Just a great way to end the prologue also, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway.
Justice is a dish best served cold.
Preach.
Before we move on, we wanted to take a second and thank everyone who backs us on Patreon.
Oh yeah, baby. We got a lot.
Thank you to our lovely, incredible, beautiful, handsome Patreon people, starting with Sinesi, Michael, Bugcatcher David, Marcus, Martin, Riley, Gladys, Victor, Samar Devs Neocortex, Alex.
Also, Matt, Chris, Jeff, Tyler, Bardicus, Maximus, very good, Steve, Fran, and Travis. Thank you all so much for your support. It's always a pleasure to come back from the off season, reading all of these brand new patron names. It's a great joy. We really appreciate it, and you making the show more sustainable for us, and you allow us to make more things, such as our House of the Dragon and Rings of Power series.
Yeah, are you watching fantasy television? So are we. Come check it out. We're making videos.
We're making
see our
videos,
faces
baby.
on screen.
Yeah, rave reviews such as, "That's not what I thought they would look like," and "I'm really uncomfortable by their mouth." Also, as you may or may not have seen, last week we released, Pete and I, a little just 6-minute kind of update thing about the Patreon. We're updating all the tiers, but the most important thing, I think, is that we are gonna get rid of the $1 tier at the end of this month. So you have until November 1st to get in at the $1 level, and then starting November 1st, we will have the $3 tier be our lowest tier. If you back at the $1 tier before then, you will be able to continue paying $1 indefinitely. So if you want access to the bonus content, but have been waiting to pull the trigger, now might be the time to do it, because you'll get in at $1 instead of $3 for the lowest tier. We've also updated a bit the $5 and $10 tiers, and you can check all of that out in a public Patreon post that we have, and it will be linked in the show notes as well. But besides that, I think we can move on.
All right, let's get on with the show. Chapter 1. An owl eats a lizard at the Asaf and regrets it. Smiles and Throat Slitter talks about capturing their target. Other soldiers close in on the bar and find Stormy and Gessler, saying he just escaped. The target runs out and is captured by Smiles and throat slitter. It's Fiddler. The adjunct wants him to do a reading. At the Azath house, Lieutenant Pors is watching Sin and Grub. The two of them descend to enter the Azath house after a conversation, and as Pors goes to follow, he is stung badly by hornets and runs towards the barracks, but passes out before he gets there. Back in the Azath, Sin starts a fire, and they look at a tapestry of the Eater and the Andi battling the K'chain Chamal. The corpse of a Forkrul Assail is there. They both think the truth is changing. Tehol and Bug banter, and then Bug shares his anxieties about the reading of the deck. They meet Bryce, Rucket, and Queen Janeth, and banter continues. Pors wakes up to being healed, and there's much talk about blood blisters. Sergeant Sinter and her sister Kisware are released from imprisonment, both thin and malnourished. Banishar speaks to Tellerist and Curdle about his glory days as a priest to the Worm of Autumn. The two promise him power. And in the end, we see the errant was listening. Feridan Sort and Lestara Yil report who will be attending the reading. Some need to be dragged there. Bryce warns Tavor about the errant disrupting the reading, saying the errant may be displeased with this show of power. Tavor is surprised, but Bryce offers to help. Quickben and Hedge talk of the night to come and agree that Tavor is making them nervous. Then Lestara and Feridan arrive to take them to the reading. Next are Kindly, Sin, and Grub. Bug arrives to Saren Paddock's house. He fears that the errant may try to strike at her baby tonight. Saren demands more and wants to speak to the King of Shadow. Bug offers to defend her. Fiddler is nervous about the reading and speaks to Bottle about it. He hopes that there are only 11 witnesses, no more, and certainly not 13. Ersta Hubat and Pinasol arrive to protect Saren from whatever will come tonight. Fiddler is troubled when Bryce shows up, bringing the number to 12. Banishar looks to the skies and sees swords of green, then argues with the errant about spilling the blood of the bone hunters. And he says if they don't want their blood to be spilled, to stay out of his way. The errant is waiting, murderous in an alley, the 13th member of the night's game. So AJ, we tune in, and there's kind of a strike force operation going on, and then it's kind of a punchline. Fiddler is the one the operation is on. How did this little kind of jokey opening strike you?
I mean, we're back with the boys, you know? Just a classic.
Are you going to play the Boys Are Back in Town?
It's been played, baby.
Okay, good.
Please.
It's a classic, little bone hunters farce. It's honestly a great change of pace from the opening.
Yeah, yeah, indeed.
A big relief. It's nice to see my friends again.
I thought it was very funny because I didn't know, obviously, it was Fiddler that they were trying to catch at first. Yeah. And then I loved the part when he ran away after they were like, oh no, this is going to work. This is going to be so good. And then he leaves. And then they're like, let's get him on either side. And they grab both of his legs. I just thought it was very funny. In fact, I really liked that part. I thought it was very silly and I actually laughed out loud.
Nice. Were you relieved to be back with some familiar faces then?
No, because unfortunately, these familiar faces, which you might say to yourself, India, these faces have been around for majority of the books. But I would say after maybe the second book, any new character after that became somebody that I'm just
Like this is just
There's
Fiddler
so
again.
many of
Yes.
A
them.
lot of soldiers. A lot of soldiers.
I hardly remember.
Even India was like, maybe there are too many Malazan soldiers.
Like
Just
I remember
maybe.
Bottle, of course, because like Bottle, and that. But like,
Yeah.
there's some that I'm just like, who the fuck were you?
Well, you got to remember Dead Smell, you know?
Yeah.
We'll get to him in a bit. That's a great name. There's so many names, though. It's awful.
But it's just a name, and it's like, well, I guess you smell dead. That's your claim to fame.
That's Dead
I mean, you
Smell's
got-
thing. He smells like dead stuff, and he's a necromancer. That's like
Yeah.
Dead Smell is one of the ones that sticks out the most in my head, if I'm being honest.
Smiles, you know? She's a girl and she'll hit you.
Smiles like knife. Right?
Smiles like knife, yeah.
Smiles like
so does
knife.
Throat Slitter. Pretty simple one there.
I forgot that Smiles like was a girl.
AJ, what would your Malazan Marine name be?
Oh God.
I'd be Chucklefuck.
Nice.
Pretty sure on that one. Or Bad Knee.
Bad knee. I think I'd be something like Big and Small or something, because I'm like tall, but I have a very tiny personality. I would say, like, I give off the energy of a small person.
I don't even know how to interpret that
I
sentence.
don't know what that
so,
means.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm small, but spiritually.
All right, I'm gonna shuffle us away from it.
Sure.
Without naming yourself, PB.
Well,
Yeah.
what it was is I felt like AJ was kind of slandering our short kings, and I just don't understand where this
as
hatred.
a 5'7" man, I can't.
I didn't say there's anything wrong with being small. I just said that I
No,
give
just
off
that
the
they're
energy.
unnoticeable
Just
and
that
life
they have
passes them
small
by with their
spirits
small
and are-
spiritual energy.
I didn't say any of that. I just said I give off the energy of a small person, and y'all projected that.
Yeah, there's a lot of projection happening here.
Wow, totally
I can't
disagree.
believe this. I won't stand for this.
AJ was like, I'm tall, but I have like a small energy and a small spirit. You know what?
Yeah.
Thank you, India.
What does that have to do with height?
All right,
It
everyone
has
in the
everything
Discord
to do
weigh
with
in.
height.
India, what's your bone hunter name?
I think she'd be the titular bone hunter.
That's really hard to I couldn't even come up with that on the spot. You guys are actually like super impressive. Because the only things that are coming to mind are like not appropriate names.
Sure.
Bitchy End, you know?
Bitchy.
Nice.
I'm bitchy
really
and my
good.
name is India, you know?
Oh, I get it.
Fuck off.
Really,
Moving on.
really got distracted, and then I feel like I really got hung up in this short thing, you know. But
I didn't say short. I said small.
You just described them as small people.
All right, we got to move
Like
on.
a small person. Let's move on, please, for the love of God.
So, Josh, there's this kind of scene in the Azath with Sin and Grub, and there's some conversation. They look at a tapestry. Did any of this land to you? Was there a lot of understanding?
No. I mean, I don't remember it very well. It's the two weird children, you
Yes.
know? It's like when you watch The Addams Family and like Wednesday and Pugsley are just kind of doing gang shit, you know? Like I don't know what the fuck these two are doing.
Well, Sin's definitely older, but
How old is Grub?
Grub's young.
6.
Grub was like 5 when we met him in Bone Hunters or something, but it's been a few years since then. So like 8?
But
He could be 8. You're right. He could be 8 or 9. Sin's, you're right. I forgot Sin's older.
I thought, okay, because I'm really glad that we cleared this up because I was really shipping them.
Well, Indy, I was too. I forgot until I constantly forget that we met Sin from a Kalam point of view or a Quickbend point of view. One of the Kalam point of view, and she was like 17 or 18, maybe even older.
Yeah,
I always forget
teens.
how old she was.
I thought she was like 15, like 14, 15.
She was powerful enough to fucking kill a bunch of people.
I don't think they're similar.
They
Sin's
definitely aren't.
Yeah,
They
Sin is definitely
But they
older.
talk about them being flirty.
Do they?
Maybe they don't. No, probably not. I probably
Maybe.
run into
I don't
it
know. I would
weird
have to-
because I'm like hoping for it.
Well, the thing is, too, they're both like possessed by like
Yeah.
different powers or something. So there's some weirdness going on there.
You know what they say? Grub's an old soul, which is just an
Literally.
insult adults say to children that they can't
Grub has
figure
the
out.
soul of an ancient man.
Yeah.
I will say I was doing some light Googling. It seems many people are also confused about this point, and that after her introduction, she is often referred to very
Childlike,
youngly,
right?
but she is but she is introduced as kind of a teenager.
Yeah.
But yeah, because that's what they
Well, I
said.
think-
That's how they talk about them,
Yeah,
like
she
the young
definitely is.
ones.
They call her the girl, and that's what throws me off, I think, is like they call her that a lot.
Yeah, but I imagine her as like 16, 17-ish in House of Chains.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That's probably what she should be.
But
But doesn't she have like a full mental break and then just acts like a child
Yes.
and stuff? Like,
She's a
isn't
mental
this-
break at Yagatan.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that is a whole other element in the mix.
And
All
that's
right.
what makes her a high mage, yeah. All right.
Yes. Gotta be crazy to be a high mage.
AJ, did any of their conversation in the Azath house land? Was it a very enlightening time for you?
Enlightening? No. Interesting for sure.
And then I'll follow up and ask.
They find the Forquilla sail, right?
Yeah.
Sure, they find
is that
the
here?
Forquilla sail.
That's pretty interesting. I felt pretty smart, but it's also like a really easy thing to spot when they're like, they have double elbow joints and double hinged every other joint. I was like, I know what that is. So that made me feel smart, I guess. But no, nothing that was like revelatory. I guess that there's a Forquilla sail in an Azath house is pretty interesting. So
Well, let me ask you this then. We're speaking about seeing characters we've known before. How did it feel to see Tehol and Bug again?
Tehol and Bug, the boys.
Love 'em.
Not gonna play the stinger for that one. Those are different boys.
They're back.
They're back. I mean, they are certainly back in town. They're up to their regular goofs and gaffs. Now with wife included.
Yeah.
With
now.
real wife action.
Now with wife.
Oh, God.
Yeah, Josh, it is unfortunate I said that. I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, the man's still wearing the blanket. Still a good bit.
Oh, man, the bit about everyone else wearing blankets now,
Yeah.
so choice.
Yeah.
I like the bit about boots. I just think boots is a funny word, and the more you say it, the funnier things are. That's
Yeah,
just,
I enjoyed this. I also enjoyed the fact that Breeze is here.
Oh,
Sure.
yeah.
My guy Breeze, alive again.
All the Benedict brothers back together again.
All of them. No one's missing.
Asterisk that are likable.
Damn.
Wow.
Savage.
Yeah.
justice for Hull. Any other thoughts about the return of Tehol?
No, I mean, like I said in the beginning, like I feel like the first two chapters are kind of just like, here is everybody, we're getting ready to start the book. And like I enjoyed being reintroduced to all these characters and seeing what they're up to, but it wasn't like, there was no like, yes, I don't know.
I found it interesting. I mean, as we've gone through this series, every Deck of Dragons reading has been more and more precarious. But I was really surprised that, like, at this point, even an Elder God is like, I'm good out here. We don't need to do that.
Yeah, I do have to say, once they were like, yeah, we're going to do a reading, my radar was only on that. Like, anytime anything else would come up, I was like, I'm ready for this reading. Let's get to the reading.
Yes, exactly.
India, were there any of these characters you were excited to see?
Tehol and Bug.
Tehol and Bug.
That's it.
Gotta love them.
I was excited to see Lostara Yill again, and then this is
Yeah.
she is great, and then it's Cinter and Kisware's introduction. Banashar is introduced.
I just want to say,
I wanna talk about
I
them.
love we're in Kisware's point of view, right? Because we've met Cinter before, and now we're meeting Kisware for the first time, right? And
I don't think we've not met them, but we met
I could have swore I heard Cinter's voice
crazy.
before.
We met Skull Death.
Yes.
Who followed them here, but we did not meet these two, I don't think, 2 books ago. I think we just met Skull Death, and we heard that he had come from that place, but I don't think we even knew that he followed these two here, unless I'm very mistaken.
I'm getting confirmation here that Cinter is in Reaper's Gale.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, I was very hot on this introduction with Kisware being like, I was just following my sister, and we're gonna get out of here. So I'm really looking forward to that storyline. I would say as far as storylines that have been introduced here, I would say this is the one that I latched onto in the very beginning.
Well,
So I'm curious to see what happens.
I've read. I don't. We learn nothing about these two sisters in Reaper's Gale.
But wait, so
Yes.
they are prisoners. Malazan wants to kill them, but they said, no, you're not allowed to kill them. You can't have them.
The two sisters. Yeah, they were in a Letheri prison, and
the Malazans got them out.
Yeah, because the Letheri were being like, well, under the war crimes, and then they just got shot to death. Which
I was confused about who was the good guys and who were the bad guys in that situation.
Well, that's a very
Yeah, I think that's a question that's more gray.
Yeah.
Yeah, but on the surface, the Malazans were the good guys.
accurate.
Okay.
I guess.
It's a bigger discussion, but
Would they be dead if it weren't for the Malazans?
Well, yeah, because they were so I guess
The Malazans are the good guys there. Those girls were falsely imprisoned and they had not been fed in fucking like weeks. Fuck those guys.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Well,
in this specific situation, yes.
Yes.
And Tellerest and Curdle.
Tellerest and Curdle. Hell
we gotta
yeah.
wait. That's towards the end, baby.
No, that's the next thing, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah.
No, it's not. 100,000%. It's their first introduction is. I thought you were talking about the thing that happens with them.
No.
I agree with you, Josh. I just feel like the language is a little broad. Tellerest and Curdle are here with Banishar.
Yeah, but they do some
yeah.
stuff at the end.
Yeah,
Yes,
I thought you
it's
were
true.
talking about
Well,
that.
let's talk about that then. So let's move on. So there's a bit of nervousness about this reading. We see a lot of familiar faces, but I did want to tell you guys about the pleasures of rereading the series. And it all comes from me being, it's like normally, first time I read this book, I was like, what's going on with this deck of dragons? I'm so interested in this. Not this time. I'm all tuned in to this Ersto Hubut and Pinasol storyline.
Yes.
My first time through, I was like, whatever, don't care about this. But now I'm laser focused. And it's like, I'm all Ersto Hubut all the time. So it was great to see them back. And even though maybe a short-lived appearance so far in this book.
Yeah, that was a very silly reveal.
Yeah, but were you not stoked? Were you not entertained?
I was for sure
I do love
entertained, yeah.
them. Yeah, big fan.
And then there's a little bit of talk about how many people are going to be there for the reading. And then Banishar's there.
With the fucking errant.
With the
And where did we meet Banishar again?
Banishar.
yeah.
Oh, God.
Banishar was from the prologue of Bone Hunters. When we got introduced to Hellion.
Hellion.
Mm-hmm.
He was the priest for the Worm of Autumn.
Of Autumn.
Yes.
Yeah. And now he spends all his time being like, I hate the Worm of Autumn. This is my personality now.
Yeah. And he was mildly important when they got to Malaz City and stuff. And then.
Yeah, the Worm gave him a deal. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a whole thing. But now he's been a little fuck.
And we also keep seeing green swords in the sky.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thought they
What
were
do you think
spears.
that means? They get called many different things.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, it's the things from the last book. It's shit's gonna go wild. Oh, yeah, I mean, we cannot possibly know what these are.
Yeah,
So-
it's
Not
it's the
even kind
things, I mean, Heboric saw them when he was doing the protecting of the moon or whatever, and he saw there was a bunch of people inside, and they were like
Yes.
giants or something, or there was just a lot of them. I don't fully remember. So that's going to happen. They're going to crash land at some point, and then there's going to be like, oh, surprise! Here's the actual war that's going to happen in this at the end of this series is against these Jade people. You fucking idiots! You should have seen this coming the whole time.
I kind of jumped through some of this chapter, but something I wonder if you guys have anything else you want to talk about. Something I did want to touch on was how did it feel to see Saren Pedek again? I know I was joking about Ersto and Pinasol, but India, what was it? How did you feel about returning to Saren?
I was really happy, especially with the baby. That was so cute and exciting. A little surprise.
Yeah.
Because last we saw, she had just found out she was pregnant, right?
Mhm.
Sure.
So it was nice. I didn't remember her and Bug having any relationship before, but it seems like, did they? I don't remember.
Not so much.
Mm-mm.
Didn't Bug crush some guys who were trying to kill her at one point or something?
Go ahead.
I don't know. I feel like maybe they interacted once, but it's not like they had a long relationship in 5 and 7.
Yeah.
But I could be, I don't know. I do think they've definitely met.
I think they meet like one time.
Yeah.
But,
It's something
it's
something like that.
Is the reason that Bug is there then is because it's a magical child? Is that the reason he's there?
Yeah, and he thinks the errant is going to use this time to kind of jump in and steal the power of the baby, but that ends not what ends up happening.
No, it is not. But
Guys, who's the errant?
He is kind of a forgotten god of Lethur and Lethur.
God of the empty throne.
He was the one who was hanging out with Feather Witch in Reaper's Gale.
Turtle
No,
Brizad.
yeah, I remember the name. I just forgot the relevance.
He's the god. He's like the Letheri god, and he has lost a lot of power with the changes that have happened in Letheri, and he's trying to scramble back to his former power through any means necessary.
Is he a figure, a real, a tangible person?
Turtle Brizad. Every time there's a new king or queen, he's the one that fucks one of them.
The king's
consort.
consort, yeah.
Yeah. King or queen.
Yes. And then there. Well, okay. Good. Got it.
All right. Well, let's move on to talking about Chapter 2. Chapter 2. Udanas watches Silchus ruin while speaking to Onrak. They discuss Ruin and what he wants. Udanas goes and speaks with him. Silchus says he wishes to speak to Rud Alal, that great trouble is coming for him, and he will be needed. Onrak thinks on the fragility of this realm and of Kalava, then regrets not visiting Saren any time since Troll's death. Shield Anvil Tanakalian travels with the parish Greyhelms. He thinks about the coast and the Greyhelms' journey to find a delegation of the Balkondo. He goes to find the Destrian, who has reached out to the adjunct, but Tanakalian finds her melting in her cabin, saying that she is not as they believed, and that their vow was a mistake. The Destriant refuses the Shield Anvil's embrace. Yedin Derrig watches the water and thinks on the slaughter he just committed. He killed many Sheikh witches that were plotting against Jan Tovis. Twilight comes to find her brother, and they speak of the slaughter. Twilight banishes him from the Sheikh. Pulley and Squish, now the last two Sheikh witches, travel back towards Yedin Derrig. Rud Alal is speaking with Silchus Ruin, and Udanas wonders about their nature and how his son will fare. Onrak doesn't understand why Udanas is letting them speak, but he goes to say goodbye to his son. Tanakalian thinks on the mortal sword. Tanakalian thinks that the Destrian's comments of betrayal were meant to anger the mortal sword into action. So he speaks of the death, but in a furtive way to avoid anger. Then they make landfall and go to meet the Bolkondo emissaries. They drink a strange drink, which they are told is the blood of the king's daughter. After the meeting is done, we see the conversation from the Bolkondo point of view. Rava and Avalt speak of letting them pass through their country, but selling them into slavery on the way back. We then see a spy was watching the two leaders. Pulley and Squish speak with Jan Tovis about what to do next. They must leave this sinking isle. The Sheikh will leave and take everyone with them. Twilight will lead them, with these witches by her side. Finally, Silchus Ruin and Rud Alal take flight from the Refugium. So, we start in the Refugium. Josh, Udanis is there. There's some talk about Silchus Ruin.
He's back again, baby.
He's back again. 18 readings in.
We get one.
Yes,
So Udanas was there. You can use that audio and edit it in
every
single time.
Such sarcasm, dripping in sarcasm.
Maybe we can finally stop getting those emails. So Josh, how did it feel to come back, see Udanas on rack? What did you make all this?
It was pretty cool. These, I would say, like, for as much time as we have spent with these people, I feel like their present circumstances makes me feel very detached from them.
Sure.
You know, like, I saw Udanas's name and I was like, forgot he was alive. And then they were like, and your son. And I was like, really forgot you had a son. And then they're like, and he's a dragon. I was like, oh, yeah. It's, yeah. That was less of a shock to me than either of the first two. It was nice though. I mean, God, Steve is really laying it on how sad Onrak Tilan is all the time. Oh my
gosh, yeah, poor
This
guy.
is the saddest boy known to man, which like worries me for him. because he's just so empathetic, but we'll see. But that was fun. I don't really get what's happening other than Silchus Ruin and the boy dragon are going to go do some mentor and trainee stuff.
Yeah, they fly away at the end of the chapter. Any thoughts about where they're going, Josh?
I mean, they talk about the realm with all of the Alaint, but I don't think they're going to. No, Peter, I have literally no idea.
Well, let me ask y'all this then. So they kind of speak about Silch's ruin and how maybe he's changed, or maybe, he had to do this thing with Kettle or whatever. So how do you guys feel about Silch's ruin now and him as a kind of doing a new thing, starting a new project?
I gotta see, I'm glad he's doing the work, but we need time.
Yeah, 100% agree. Literally, not that I expected Kettle's story to go anywhere, but also why not? And I am not over it. So Silchus Ruin can go fuck himself.
Well, I guess we'll see where they end up going off to at the end of this chapter. They do fly away from the refugium. And there is a lot of talk, AJ, about the kind of precarious nature of this realm. I wonder if that meant something to you, or how you think about this kind of area and its stability.
Yeah, I mean, I think the refugium is sick. I think it's just a cool, conceptually, I guess, so many people believed it existed or whatever that it then became real or something, right? That's what happened with it pretty much.
Sure, yeah, basically.
Yeah, that rules. I love that. I don't know. I feel like the people's concern with the stability of this place, didn't we say when there's an Azath here now, right? Isn't that a thing that they were
yeah,
this cements it as a real place?
So I Silchus stabbed Kettle through the chest.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know why we would be. I mean, I guess these people are all pretty old, so maybe they've seen Azaths fall before, or realms fall around Azaths. I don't know, but I don't. All of these, I hope nothing bad happens to the refugium. Doesn't
bode well.
Well, it just doesn't seem. It seems like a non-issue to me, because I'm well, why would something bad happen? It exists,
Well, I mean, I think the argument is more the entire universe could get ripped apart by chaos if the crippled god gets his plan, and so they can't just kind of chill.
Sure.
So, India, we kind of leave those characters and we cut to some characters we've have not seen in the wild, the Grey Helms, and there is
everyone's favorite.
There's a whole sequence. We see the shield anvil. We see the shield anvil find the Destriant who's melting. And then later they go and speak to the mortal sword. And then before they make landfall. So how did it feel to find the Grey Helms again? And how much of this, I would say, somewhat dense description of the Grey Helms political situation came through?
To be honest, I didn't remember who the Grey Helms were.
Sure.
It's fair.
Same.
And so the fact, and I'm learning right now that we are revisiting them.
Do you want a quick refresher on where we met them?
Yeah.
So do you remember the Grey Swords from book 3?
No.
With it, Icarium
was the shield anvil.
Nope, not Icarium.
Ikovian.
That's what I said.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And
So
Berkelion
then in the Bone Hunters, the Malazans go and they just find these new people, the Grey Helms, who worship the wolf gods that were created or set free in the 3rd book. And then they're the ones who have been traveling with the Malazans for a while, and their ships have been what got the Malazans from that side of the world over to Letheris. But then we've not seen them since 2 books ago, when they were, again, hardly seen.
They show up at the end of Reaper's Gale.
No, but you're thinking of the Barghast army.
Don't they show up by the Shake Islands?
They're there, but then we keep hearing that they're there, but we also keep being told the bulk of their forces are not there. There's 2 of their ships.
Right, and then don't they show up by the Shake Islands near the end of book 7?
I don't think so. Unless I'm very wrong. But
I don't know.
They're in a completely different part of the continent right now.
Oh, fucking Christ. Okay.
So right now the Grey Helms are in the part of the continent that Letheris claimed was going to unite to attack Letheris, and that's what they were using as provocation to start wars. And that's
Right.
on the far eastern side, and I think they went north around the continent to get there.
Volcando, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
So-
we have maps, right?
Yes, let me show you.
This map is frustratingly missing everything from the prologue.
Lether's over here. Volcando is here.
Oh, so they went south, not north. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, the map is of Lether, and not everything is in Lether,
It's true.
is what I would say.
Yeah.
But that's a little bit we learn about the situation in India. We learn about the political situation, and then we also hear they have this kind of cryptic vision. And the Destriant claims that they have kind of made a bad deal with Tavor, and that she is not as she believed, and that it was a mistake to pledge to her. So India,
Tavor can't catch a damn break, can
She
she?
really can't. No.
yeah. Do you believe that she is who she says she is?
Yeah, I think that she's just socially awkward.
Interesting.
I literally do. Like, I really do believe that she believes everything that she's saying and doing. I really believe that, but nobody else fucks with her. Granted, really, what results has she brought us?
She's done some stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
Like what?
well, she did.
She killed her sister. That's what she did.
Number one.
We're still not over that. Jeez,
Number
Louise.
one, killed my sister. Number two, yeah. Anyway, so then they make landfall, Josh, and they meet some of the Balkando emissaries, and they're kind of have this whole interaction. They kind of drink this blood, and then we see a little bit about the Balkando political situation. What did you make of this scene?
This is my favorite scene of the entire 9 books we've read.
It's really good.
Whoa.
It's a
It
funny
is my
scene.
absolute favorite scene. I love everything about it, and it's great.
Wow, that's really strong. AJ, did you feel as strongly as Josh did?
No. I would love to hear Josh's breakdown of what you love so much about this, though.
I just loved the perspective shift we got, because the Malazans are like, holy shit, these absolute barbarians. They're so over the top. I cannot believe we're dealing with them, right? And then the perspective shift over to them being like, those big idiots.
Yeah.
You know, I can't believe that. And I was like, oh, you really got me. And then they're like, now we have to kill every servant in this room, even though we've already cut out their tongues and we've gotten rid of their ears. But there's a secret sect of lip readers. And I was like, all right, that's a bit much. And then the servants are like, I know I'll die tonight, but my message has been received. The Lord of whatever shall come again. It's just so every jump of that just escalated so hard, and I just was absolutely loving life.
Sure.
I do think the third cut is the funniest one.
That's the funny part.
Yeah.
Yes. If Steve had ended, I would have been like, yeah, that's Steve. He does that. That's funny. That third one was just peak.
So, AJ, we also take a visit over to the Sheikh,
Yeah, baby.
and Yedenderig has committed a little bit of a slaughter,
Just a little bit of a slaughter.
but we do not judge him, and then he gets banished. And then we learn a little bit about the Sheikh situation with the witches. So what did you make of this whole thing?
And have we been
Do you think he should have been banished?
putting Shake It Off every time Pete introduces the Shake?
No, Pete has just been singing it,
Okay.
but there's no stinger for it.
That's rough. That's rough. Really,
I will say
love
there's
that.
a lot of Sheikh in this book. So if you wanted to stinger, we could. But
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love the Shake. I love the little bit that we got in Reaper's Gale. Thought that shit ruled. Or am I thinking of Bonehunter's Gale? No, I'm thinking of Reaper's Gale.
Reaper's Gale,
Reaper scale.
Yeah. I was not expecting the first scene back to be Yedenderig doing some sort of ritual murder or whatever because he has to, because these people are kind of dissenters. But I do have to say, this seems, as I was reading this, I was like, Josh is going to think this is a really smart move.
100%.
Because the Yedenderig has, I guess, I don't know, a really pessimistic view of what any dissent means, and it's like, well, we'll just cut it off at the ankle or whatever the fuck the saying is. We'll just cut it off before it becomes a real problem. Drastic, yes, but maybe a good game time decision, because we've seen some people get betrayed in some pretty brutal ways in these books, and people betraying people, a la House of Chains or something. But Yedenderig said none of that. If you don't like Twilight, you're fucking out of here.
Yeah.
So yeah,
5
it's
great books. How could anyone not?
Yeah.
So you didn't answer. You feel like he should have been banished? He shouldn't have been banished?
I mean, I think she was right to banish him because she knew that if she didn't, he would have to be murdered. So she wants him to stay alive because it's her brother. I do love that even after she banishes him, he's like, I don't get what I did wrong. I don't understand. I just did what I had to do. This had to be done. Yeah. I mean, I think it was a good call for him to banish or for her to banish him, I guess. Gives him a chance to show up later and save her life or something. Because he still seems all aboard the Twilight train. I mean, how can you not be, if I'm being honest?
I mean, he planned on being banished. He had the horse ready to go.
Oh, is that true? I missed that bit.
Yeah, he had a horse provisioned and ready to go because he figured he would get banished.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, so...
AJ, I will never forgive you for judging Yedendereg. India, so do you think...
I just want to clarify. I do think at a point later, all of these people would have wound up being murdered one way or another, and I think Yedendereg just, like, got ahead of it and was like, well, I'm just going to do it now, because there's no point in waiting for them to actually betray.
Oh, well, they're going to commit a crime in the future, so I can just kill them. That's
exactly.
some big brain thinking, AJ.
Yeah. Anyway.
So in... Twilight is kind of leading Exodus off the island with these two witches, Pulley and Squish, in tow. Do you think she can trust these witches?
Honestly, no, because I don't know. The witches are always have a hidden agenda. They always have somebody that's like alive but kind of dead that they're trying to fit. I don't even know. I just feel like the witches always have someone where they're pulling. I just don't trust any witches ever.
Wow.
I think that's a good rule for life, personally.
Yeah.
Counterpoint, I'm pro witches, and I think you should be too.
I am pro witches. I just personally would not trust them. I'm not, no harm, no foul.
I see.
But I have witch friends.
I just don't want them to live next to me. They can move in.
Exactly.
They can move into the neighborhood, but
yeah.
Shit, Jesus Christ.
If they can get into the neighborhood, fine. But like, let's just, I'll be cordial.
So long as they keep all that stuff off the porch, you know what I mean? I don't.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. Literally.
Holy shit. Oh my God. We're really treading some ground.
Pete, what were your thoughts on the amount of piss in this scene too?
Oh fuck, man.
That's
really wild.
Good stuff. I'm love pissing my pants, so I felt right at home. So 2 big thumbs up for PB.
That's what the P stands for in PB.
Yeah, piss boy.
That's my Malazan name, actually.
There we go.
There it is.
All right. Let's move on to chapter 3.
Fuck.
Chapter 3. Shirk speaks with Ruth and Gud about the city and the reading. Shirk goes to find someone else to have sex with and finds Ubala Pung. She asks about his new job as a palace guard and encourages him to speak to Tehol about his complaints. Kisware reflects on her sister Sinter. They both join the army together, but Sinter is more devoted to the bone hunters than her. Kenib and Blistig speak about the soldiers and what it means to be there for a reading. Some say the last reading led to Kalam's death at Malaz City. Deadsmell and other soldiers are passing the night along. Herb and Hellion go find Breathless and Touchy at a brothel. Bryce is watching the people, ready for the reading. Quickben is just as hesitant as Fiddler for this reading. The reading begins and the power rings out throughout the city. The errant notices, and so does Ersto and Pinasol. Fiddler does the reading, throwing cards at the different people in the room. The errant interrupts the reading, trying to claim the title of Master of the Deck. But Bryce rejects this, saying this title is taken by Ganos Perrin. Ersto Hubat and Pinasol have melted into puddles. Saren and Bug speak about their losses, what happened that night, and what it means for Saren's child. The errant thinks about what happened that night, and decides his next step is to wait and attack Bryce, one-on-one. Tellerist and Curdle briefly turned into dragons during the reading, but have since reverted. They think about this, what they should do, and what could be happening in the sky. Sandalith Trucorlat has been named the Queen of Dark. She speaks to Withel about this role, and High House Dark. Sandalith asks about Quickben and what his relationship to the High House Dark is. Eberron and Shard speak about the reading, saying it's like all the Warrens awoke at once. Tavor speaks with Bryce Bedek about her relationship with Ganos. In the end, she speaks of her plan to take her army east. Quickban and Fiddler discuss the reading, how Hedge needs to build a road, and how Tavor called for the reading. The errant ambushes Bryce, but he is saved by Ubala and Sinter. Fiddler says Ubala is the herald of life and examines the last card. Unaligned, House of Chains. India, we check in with Shirk Alal, and she kind of has a funny conversation with Ubala Pung. Was it nice to see, they're two friends. I was stoked to see them, you know?
I think that they're hilarious. I think that the Ublala not liking his job because he's being bullied is the funniest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Died. Literally. I'm like, you are a literal certified killer and you're being bullied to clean shoes. Crying. Great opening. Very, very fun. Love Shirk, obviously.
I don't know how to say this, but it doesn't surprise me at all that Ubala's being bullied. It just feels like he would be picked on, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
It's really weird. I mean, he's so big. I don't know how he gives off such small man energy.
Nice. I do love that Shirk was like, you're literally friends with the king. Just like tell them you're going to tell the king that they're picking on you. And he's like, oh, okay.
Good idea.
Good. Yeah.
He's just a soft guy, and I really respect that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, this is the Kissware part. Okay. I was wondering. I couldn't find it in the last chapter.
There's more detail on them here.
This is what I liked.
Yeah, this is where there's a lot more about the two of them and their relationship. What did you like about it, AJ?
No, I mean, I just like, this is like, well, okay. I think it's that it is like a genuine POV of a bone hunter, like a person in the bone hunters. Like, it's not like Fiddler or Bottle. It is just like a bone hunter, you know, like Kissware is just
boots on the ground, just a lady.
Yeah, she's just a lady and she has a sister and she would have liked to leave, but her sister is like commits too much in her eyes, at least. So she's like, I guess I'm stuck here with my fucking captain's sister while I'm just, you know, whatever, or lieutenant, whatever her station is. I don't know. I just liked this whole, like, getting this whole story because it's like, it's not something we get a whole lot, you know, like there were times in previous books where we kind of touched on like, oh, I think Fiddler or something is like, oh, I've been a soldier since I was like, you know, a child or whatever. Like I joined the army as a kid and now I'm here, but we never really got super deep into it. And I don't know, having this kind of backstory to just, like you said, a boots on the ground bone hunter, I think is really interesting. And I'm curious to see how much it comes up and how it manifests later in the story.
Yeah, we'll follow through with that throughout this book.
That's good to know.
There's a lot of buildup, and I don't know if we need to go through all the scenes, but there's a lot of buildup to the reading.
Yeah.
We kind of touch in with a lot of familiar faces, and I think it's about time we get to the reading itself.
Yeah, baby.
I have actually copied the reading at the bottom of our Google Doc here.
I saw.
Oh, yeah.
And I would love if the three of you could take a quick look at it. These are the 13 cards that get handed out during the reading. And I would be curious if any of them jump out at you or if you have any thoughts.
I do. Isn't Orb, Scepter, Throne a book?
It is.
It is a book.
Also immediately clocked that.
It's like from this series, right?
It's one of the Esselmont books.
Okay,
a novel of the Malazan Empire.
Interesting. Yeah, that's for the record. That's Gessler, Stormy, and Grub.
Yeah.
So I did
Good
clock
shit.
that. That was the first thing.
AJ, what jumped out to you?
I would say that actually looking at it laid out here, wasn't Karsa called the something of life? Wasn't Karsa a of life person at one point? Or am I making that up?
I don't remember. I know they tried to have him be the Knight of Chains, and he said
Knight
no.
of Chains. I could have sworn there was some sort of other life imagery thrown around at a different reading.
I don't remember.
I don't know. No, but I mean, King of Life Breeze and Herald of Life Ublalapung, I think, is very interesting.
Really good, really good.
Versus the Mason of Death Hedge.
Which is funny because remember way back when we heard that there was no Mason of Death, and I think I had guessed it would be Whiskey Jack because he had that masonry background. But really cool that that finally comes back from like book 1, or 3 maybe one of those books.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
India, anything that jumps out to you?
Well, no, honestly, the Fool in Chains I thought was funny.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Oh yeah.
Now that I see it there, but
Yeah.
I do like Sandalith Dracorlat, Queen of Dark.
I was gonna say that. Yep.
That's pretty fucked up.
Well, and it's so interesting because, we as the reader get to know what, our boy Annie beefed it, but like, she's like, I can't imagine I would be with Anamanda. And it's like, well, you're not. So you're set there.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I also think it's fun that Quick Ben has been outed as the Mages of Dark.
Yeah. Well, but he was the Mages of Shadow before. This is big change.
Oh,
and there
that's
really
right.
wasn't, and there wasn't a lot of dark stuff before because Mother Dark was gone. But now that Mother Dark is back, we have both a queen and a magus of her. So that's really big.
Interesting note, Josh.
Yeah.
And then Sandalith even brings it up later. She's like, "Yo, Quick Ben, what's up with this?"
Yeah.
It's like nothing.
Yeah.
I have no comment.
Don't talk to me.
Yeah, the child of Saren and Troll is the Knight of Shadow because that's what Troll very briefly was. I'm pretty sure.
I believe so.
Yes.
Interesting.
Because he, helped defend the Throne of Shadow, and so that kind of earned him that role or something.
God, I miss Troll.
Is this from the first deck?
Yeah, I forget when that reading is. Some of this information I can't tell you when it gets said. It's so
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes, wow.
You guys are like super good at remembering things. This whole thing, like anything stand out to you? Literally no.
Kenub getting one is crazy to me because I always forget that him and the one with a B, those two fists, I always forget about them.
ballistic.
Blistic, yeah. And so Kenub's the one that was the guy with Grub? Or
Yeah, Kenneth is
no.
Grub's.
Korab.
No, that's Korab's the one that's touched by Opon.
No, I think Grub is Kenneb's son.
Not his real son.
Not his real
Not
son.
his real son. It's kind of
yeah.
adopted son.
That's what I
Yeah.
thought. Okay.
He found him.
Sure, but
Yeah.
that's yeah. Okay.
Okay.
You're
Spinner of
wrong,
Death.
AJ.
You're wrong, okay?
Spinner of Death and then Virgin of Death for Sin. I don't understand either of those.
Obelisk is just a fun card to be, I guess. You
Yeah.
know? I just want to say how fucking awesome this reading was, though, just
Oh my
generally.
Like just breaking ribs and slamming them against walls.
Just fucking the imagery here is awesome. I could see it. Oh man, it was so cool of them just like being lifted into the air by these fucking tarot cards. Really great shit. I love the conversation that somebody has with the errant, and they're like, "Fuck your
Yeah.
tiles."
The reading gets
yeah, yeah,
interrupted.
yeah.
The Aaron shows
Yeah.
up, and then he's like, "I'm the master of the deck," and then they're like,
Master
buddy,
of the
no.
tiles, you mean? Master of the
Sorry,
tiles.
yeah.
Yeah, Fiddler's like, "Hey, fuck off!" Like,
Yeah.
You do not know what you're doing.
yeah.
And
I loved the like Perrin bluff.
It's
like,
re-
my big strong friend will be here soon. He will
Yeah.
come.
And
He's
then
right
and then
outside.
to find out after that, like it did not activate at all. Like where the fuck is he at? You know, we've not seen him in a minute.
Yeah.
where is Ganos?
Did we see him after he rescued Hedge?
Yes, because that was before he then went and led that army and killed that plague god. Remember, he killed that plague god in the Bone Hunters.
Oh, yeah.
And I really don't think we've seen him since then, other than maybe like a telepathic mind message.
Yeah. Oh man, that plague storyline was wild.
Mm-hmm.
So we
It was
see
resolved so fast. It
was.
seemed like such a big deal, and then he was like, "No,
Well, it
you're
wasn't.
dead."
Yeah. It wasn't really resolved though, because you're right. It was.
Anyway,
we see Ursto and Pinasol are reduced to puddles.
fucking brutal, man.
Can't believe I cared about
Rest
them.
in peace. Rest in
Can't
peace.
believe Steve made me give a shit about those two dying.
I've loved them since minute one, since they were introduced as the weird couple who's like, "I won't marry you until the until the lake freezes," and then the lake froze. I loved that.
So it was really good.
So India, we then also see Tellerist and Curdle, and we briefly see that they had a bit of an experience, let's say.
I don't understand what you guys found so like cool about them dragoning.
That became real dragons. They got their bodies back.
Didn't we know that though?
We knew they had been, but remember they've been the little skeletons.
They hadn't been able to transform. They were just they were like spiritually dragons, and now they can actually become dragons. But then when they transformed back into the little skeleton bodies, they were just like they got really comfortable in the skeleton bodies. So that's their like regular form, and then they transformed into fucking dragons.
Why? So why can they do that? We don't know.
Because the Warrens all opened up at once, and a bunch of shit happened.
Oh yeah, well, okay. See, I was like, when you guys first were like, oh my god, I can't believe the Teleras and Colonel thing. I was like, what the fuck are they talking about? But yeah, they turned into dragons.
Yeah,
that did happen.
Pretty fun. I kind of just like the image of them spontaneously doing it. You know,
I love them. I think they're incredible little angels.
Yeah. So, any other thoughts about them?
Yeah, where's Apsalar?
Great question.
Where's Apsalar?
I'm sure when Crocus finds her later this book or next, we'll know.
Yeah, okay. It's been a minute.
Mm-hmm.
So we see a bit more conversation between Sandalith and Quickben. There's a conversation about the Warrens, as Josh mentioned. And then, AJ, there's talk. Tavor speaks with Bryce about her relationship with her brother.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think she's feeling in this scene, and what did you make of this conversation?
I don't know. I've always thought Tavor was interesting when we hear her speak, so I was happy to hear her speak. I think it's funny when she's talking to Breeze, and she's like, "Oh, you died once," and he says, "It is extraordinary how little choice one has in such matters." Talking about his resurrection, I thought that was pretty funny. I don't know. In terms of how she's feeling, I don't know. I guess like pretty disconnected from her like last name, you know? Like I feel like it's been a while since she's like been a Perrin or something, you know, like she is just the leader of the Bone Hunters now. I think Breeze is right when he talks about her, you know, he says, "You might have welcomed the master's attention this night." Yeah, I don't know. It didn't like this scene didn't super strike me in any way. Besides, it was like two of my faves kind of talking.
All right, well, we can leave it there then. I always enjoy seeing more about Tavor, and she'll be a central character going forward, of course. So then there's a bit of an ambush on Bryce, but he makes it out alive. Josh, did you think the errant ever had a chance?
In the original room or the ambush?
In the ambush.
No, just because Breeze became too plot relevant too fast, you know?
Sure.
So I just didn't think there was really a chance that it was going to work. So, yeah.
I did like this kind of exchange between the Errant and Breeze. You know, I mean, I always think it's fun when a character is like trying to flex and then they just get fucking downed. So the Errant just being like, "I poisoned you on purpose, you stupid idiot." Ha 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 ha. And then just getting his fucking nose broken or whatever. I think that's always, you know, fun.
It's also like, yeah, we know what things.
Yeah, it's like, why are we flexing here? We know you did the thing, but clearly it didn't work. So like, why are you flexing?
Weird flex.
So
the last thing I did want to touch on was, so Fiddler examines this last card, an unaligned House of Chains. I wonder what you guys make of that, if anything. That's a shrug from Josh.
Yeah, because he's saying that card's just there, right? Not assigned to anybody.
Doesn't seem to be.
I don't know.
It's
weird.
It's the last card of the drawing. India, look at confusion from you. No comment.
It's the crippled god, the god of chains.
The House of Chains, if you will.
Yeah.
I'm so sick of it. I don't fucking know. I have no idea.
What if it's Tavor because she specifically wasn't given anything?
I mean, Fiddler whispers Tarthano Toblikai, but he's talking about Ublala.
Yep. Or
well, no, because he says Tarthano Toblikai, Herald of Life. Well, just
okay.
So.
Yeah. Okay. I don't got nothing then.
Any thoughts, AJ?
I'm just rereading the section right now. We all know about those, my dear. Fret not. It is the price of living. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess I'm kind of feeling like Fiddler at the end of the section. He's saying, if only you were weaker, if only your chains didn't reach right into the heart of the Bone Hunters, if only I knew who was dragging who, why, I might have reason to hope. But he didn't, and so there wasn't. I guess that's kind of how I'm feeling, is I just don't know shit about shit. And if I did, I would feel a way, but I don't, so I don't.
Well, I'll tell you this. If you knew, it really resonates.
I
You
bet.
know?
Good to know.
That is good to know that it has resonated with you, Pete.
So that'll bring us to an end of today's episode.
I do just want to really quick, sorry, I do just want to really quick, right before that part, Quickman and Hedge are on the roof, and they had seen the fight or whatever, sensed the fight between the errant and stuff.
Yeah.
And Quickben says, damned Toblakai, but that's not the interesting bit, though, is it? No, it's that Dalhanese woman. Well, that can all wait. And he's talking about Sinter, who I'm just connecting now is Kisware's sister. So that's interesting.
Yes.
Anyway.
I guess we'll see what's interesting about that.
I guess we'll see what's interesting about that.
We
I
shall
guess
indeed.
we'll see what's interesting about that.
Yeah.
Can we go?
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. Let us know what you think of the show at 10 Very Big Books on Gmail and Twitter. And once again, please try and fill out that poll. We would love to hear from you and love to hear your thoughts. And we are really excited for this this Dust of Dreams Crippled God mega season. Yeah, I don't have anything else. Do you guys?
Nope.
Cool. When
I'm looking forward to the book.
When I say come, you say passion. Come.
Passion! Hello, everybody. Producer AJ here, upset that my dryer is broken. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the podcast. We are so excited for this final super season, and we hope that you are too. Just a reminder that we are now on YouTube as well, so if you prefer to listen over there, go for it. If you have a friend who wants to listen on YouTube and doesn't like other podcatcher apps, tell them about it too, please. Also, please check out that poll regarding the possibility of a live event at the end of the season, as well as the public Patreon post regarding the updates to the Patreon. Links to those things are in the show notes. If you'd like to give us your thoughts or feelings about this or any of our episodes, you can always email us 10verybigbooks@gmail.com, tweet us at 10verybigbooks, or you can head on over to our Discord, bit.ly/VBB Discord. That's capital V, capital B, capital B, capital D, Discord. That link will be in the show notes. Also, thank you to all of our wonderful patrons over on Patreon. If you'd like to financially support the show, you can head on over to patreon.com/10verybigbooks. And if you would like to be grandfathered in to the $1 tier, make sure you get in there before November 1st. Again, that link will be in the show notes. And as always, thank you so very much to Dan Gesrick for making our spectacular cover art. You can follow him on Twitter at @A_W_Dan_G for the hottest, oh no, it's hockey season again. And of course, the wonderful music in today's episode, including the remixed intro and outro tracks, is by the one and only Amaranthan from his album Simulant Rain, which you can find along with his other music on bandcamp.com. Links to their pages will be in the show notes, and 10 Very Big Books will be back in 2 weeks on October 28th, reading Dust of Dreams chapters 4, 5, and 6. Another hefty chunk. I'll talk to you then, and thank you so much for listening.